What's next for us as leaders? It's to ask ourselves the question, where in our character is the Lord inviting us to deny ourselves, to take up our cross and follow him? You see, we can be greatly skilled, and yet we rise and fall in our character. And so it's important for us to allow the word to read our lives and allow the word to read our hearts and to ask him, what's next? To ask him what's next. And on one level, we could say, well, maybe the thing I want to attend to is I'm not praying enough or reading the Bible enough, but I don't know any Christian who thinks they are, so we're not going to go into deep details on that one right now. What we're going to look at are some of the other things. You remember when Jesus was in the wilderness, driven by the Spirit into the wilderness, and a number of things of character are tested. Let's look at those, our appetites. What would it look like to give the Lord our appetite? Because that shapes us as leaders and what we're hungry for, and how we meet those needs and how those needs are satisfied. I grew up in quite a challenging situation. I spent a number of years in foster care and grew up in a situation of quite considerable neglect, really. And I remember I used to do the family groceries at 9. I know, that's weird. And I remember I knew something was wrong. And what I used to do to help myself was there was this bakery, and it had the best donuts. And so I'd go and eat the donut. I'd buy my own secret little donut. And I remember a few years ago, I was praying about something or another, and I felt the Lord say to me, Joe, will you let me be your donut? Will you let me be the one who satisfies you, who meets your every need, who in the times of challenge and pressure, he'll turn the stones into bread. You see, otherwise, as leaders, we live out a sense of scarcity, and we can't dream and have those ideas because we don't know how it's going to get fixed unless he satisfies the need. Unless he satisfies. Where do we need to pick up our cross and unite ourselves to his road? Or maybe it's one of the other challenges. Approval was one of the other things that came up in the wilderness for Jesus. Anybody need to be liked? It's real hard to pioneer into new things if we're always wondering if we're going to be approved of, whether they like us or not. Are we willing to take our popularity or our longing for acceptance or our sheer dislike of rejection and take it to the cross for a naked execution and unite ourselves to his road? Following Jesus is great until it isn't. Until it's really unpopular. But if we don't, otherwise we'll begin to morph ourselves with a view to reaching people. Or is it one of the other challenges? Ambition. Ambition. What do we do with our naked ambition? On one level, I tell you, sometimes we forget who the real enemy is. And we morph it into competing and comparing with our brothers and sisters rather than populating heaven. What's next is where do our ambitions need to be taken for a naked execution? And unite ourselves with Christ again.